stays in. He'll find a way. Fingers crossed.
Well, you can see, I can imagine lots of nice drives, lots of clips, lots of playing behind square, which is how those sort of players can try and function. It's Patel on strike, 11 not out, 20 for 1 the score as Pennington is in, ramped, and he's going to get it away for 4. It'll be 2 bounces before it crashes into the boundary rope, fine on the leg side. Premeditated shot, and Patel moving across. Is a long way, and it is always difficult. You're designed as a bowler to be running in, saving your legs for the 4 overs. As Pennington, 22 on his back, bowls, and it's a slower delivery which Patel decides to defend. And so we've got 1 ball remaining in the over. Patel, 291 runs in 9 innings, top scorer, and by some distance. He's the only player in the Leicestershire team to get over 200 runs in this campaign so far.
Also top scorer by a long way in the county championship.
Of course he is, yeah. He stands, bat raised, listening to live cricket, Leicestershire against Yorkshire. As Pennington runs in, he bowls, and it's defended again by Patel. Oh, and he goes to try and get the quick single as he tried to just drive it down towards mid-on, but Pennington sprightly down to his right to dive down to stop it, and so there is no run. End of the over, 26 for 1 is the score, and so 9 off it in the end. And Leicestershire going at a solid rate, just under 9 and over. Patel 17, Hanscom on 5, 26 for 1 is the score. Leicestershire against Worcestershire in the T20 Blast. Live on BBC Radio Leicester or on the YouTube screen if you're streaming, if you're watching it.
11 actually in the end. So because Hanscom's 4 off the first and Patel's ramp plus the extra bits and pieces.
Should just say Katie Bolter. Leicestershire's Katie Bolter, 1 game away from the Nottingham Open title. She's 5-2 up in the second set against Jodie Burridge.
Good on her. A big focus on her at Wimbledon as a consequence. One fears Mitch Satner is going to come and purvey his Kiwi spin at Rishi Patel. Very slowly Patel waits for it, strokes it back towards Satner. There's something of a collision between Patel and Santner as he tried to get his bat back in. He was bowling to Hanscom, of course. Hanscom on drove. Santner stopped to his right, almost collided with Patel, goes in again, down the wicket goes Hanscom, gets there far too soon but waits for it and very cleverly flicks it out towards deep mid wicket and should get, thought they'd get 3 there actually, 1 for the throw, actually a good throw came in from deep mid wicket. Hanscom fancied 3 but Patel was satisfied with 2. He improvised very cleverly there, Pete Hanscom. He moves on to 7 as Santner is in, drops very short, pulled mightily out to deep mid wicket for a 1-2 bounce for. Well, he was trying the quicker delivery and he got that horribly wrong. Santner, he just dragged it into the pitch and it sat up. Had to wait a fair while, Hanscom for it to arrive, but once it did, he swivelled and, well, Adam Whitt is an informed batsman alongside. I think you would have put that one away.
I would have done. Although I think I got bowled by a delivery like that, not too far away.
Santner is in, tosses it right up, slog swept by Hanscom, and he slog swept for 4. Beautifully found the gap, and it runs away across this lightning fast hard outfield to a spare set of covers over there. All the fielder can do is run around and pick it up almost in front of the Building Society family stand, the Melton Building Society family stand, and Hanscom, impressing on debut, has moved on to 15 off just 6 balls. Leicestershire 36 for 1.
He hasn't played, and this is what we were expecting, he hasn't played any shots that you wouldn't expect in a county championship game. But he's probably playing them more frequently. But he's not taking any risks.
No, he's not. They've sent mid-off back to long off because mid-wicket has gone into a conventional deep mid-wicket position. Santner is in, tosses it right up and waiting for it. Hanscom just bobs it back out into the offside, decides he's okay for the time being, doesn't try and wipe it into next week, as I suspect many a club batsman. I've never seen left-arm spin bowl quite this slowly. Santner is in and bowls. That is a slightly quicker ball. Hanscom went back, tried to force it out into the offside. It's stopped at the second attempt at extra cover. And that is the end of an interesting over from Santner. 10 runs conceded from it. And after 4 overs of the power play, Leicestershire, okay, 36 for 1.
It's a club-style bowling action from Santner. Very effective. He's got a brilliant economy rate in international cricket. 83 T20 games for New Zealand, 160 wickets, going at about 7 and over. But I think you'd say it was eccentric if you were playing a club game, never mind professional cricket. New over, and it will be bowled by Tongue, his second over, and he's pulled round the corner from Patel out to deep square leg where it's fielded. I think he just possibly hit too far on the top of the bat, or it was not quite out of the middle. And the score moves on to 37 for 1. 2 overs left, or 1.5 overs left in the power play. The run rate just short of 9 and over. The risk of rain is dissipating somewhat. The grey cloud is very high and lighter than it was half an hour ago, as it's a beauty from Tongue, as he just gets a little bit of bounce and bite out of the pitch. Hanscom tried to go back to that, but was leaning. Was a lot of his weight was down, and so he tried to carve it off the back foot. It went over his bat. There is no run. Hanscom's record, we mentioned it pre-game, 2 T20Is for Australia, best of 33, 104 as Tongue bowls. Oh, and that's a wide delivery, it's an appeal for a catch, and it's not given. That must have been being close to a wide. I'm not sure if Hanscom moved across his stumps. Either way, it must have been probably on the line. We haven't quite got the right angle here to judge the line perfectly. We're slightly to the left of the pitch. It must have been right on the line. Absolutely. There, looking at the replay. Yeah. Tongue, 24 on his back. The England international comes in. He bowls, and this is heaved towards the leg side. That's a big hit, and that's into the advertising hoardings by Hanscom. Good pick-up, and he has whacked that for 6. So the decision to put him in, looking very wise indeed right now, as he moves to 21. And the Foxes on to 43 for 1. Hanscom 21 off 11. Showing his international quality, certainly. Tongue, black-haired, comes in, bowls. This is cut by Hanscom, and there's going to be a chase on for the fielder. It's well collected, though, by Pat Brown on the run. And he saves the 2 as a result. 44 for 1. Hanscom on to 22. Late cut from the Australian international. Tongue played very well, he impressed. And if what we're seeing is about Moeen Ali, that he's just struggling with the grip, isn't he, of spin bowling. In the first Ashes test, he may well be replaced. They may go for 5 seamers. Tongue may be one of them as he bowls. Is driven straight at cover. He's just held back his pace there, I think, Tongue. And that is the end of the over. His 2 overs have gone for 20. Leicestershire are 44 for 1. On BBC Radio Leicester against Worcestershire in their 10th T20 of this campaign. You remember they've lost 7 of their previous 9, and there was 8 off that last over. Hanscom 22, Patel 18. And as we say, yeah, it could be Tongue that they pick. There's a number of pace bowlers that they can pick, but you wonder whether the other option for them is down below us in the Leicestershire dugout. Rahan Ahmed may well be in line.
You thought he'd be in the conversation. Pat Brown now is going to bowl the final over of the power play for the Rapids. Comes in, bowls outside off stump, forced out into the offside by Peter Hanscom, but you heard the Australian call no as he saw it bouncing up in towards the covers, who fielded on the run to his right. He remains on 22. few more now coming in, with the threat of rain having at least temporarily receded. Absolute lottery. And it may be that we're okay. 44 for 1. It is a pretty decent start on the part of the Foxes. Brown rushes in and bowls, pulled mightily by Hanscom over the top of mid-wicket, should bounce away to the mid-wicket boundary, runs over the ropes in front of one of the floodlight pylons. Super shot from Peter Hanscom, who is giving Leicestershire the sort of start that, well, they've had it once or twice in the competition, but certainly not with any consistency. But this is, in fact, this is what we were saying to Owen beforehand, that, you know, a top quality international batter can win you a game at T20 almost single-handedly with one fine innings. And if Hanscom can go on here and get sort of 80 or even more, then that could be a winning score on this track. Brown is in again to him. Hanscom just waits and goes back and calmly turns it towards mid-wicket. Oliveira slides across to his right, makes the stop just outside the circle. Hanscom takes 1, moves on to 27, 49 for 1.
It's been a fascinating tale for Hanscom, hasn't it? So he was initially here for what, 6 games? 6 County Championship games, because Ajinkya Rahane was able to join from... His first game was supposed to be the Gloucestershire game, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be.
Which was played last week.
But then he was picked in the World Test Championship side. Brown is in. Patel is driving out towards Usama Mir and moves fairly slowly towards the ball. There was always going to be a single there, I think, under any circumstances. Patel takes it and brings up the Foxes 50 for 1 after 5.4 overs. I was asking about Rahane and what the circumstances were. They're still waiting to hear Leicestershire on India's squads going forward, so it certainly doesn't look like he's going to be available for the game next week. In goes Brown, short, and he is clubbed back over his head by Hanscom. Oh, and it almost hits the press box window, thumps into the BBC Radio Leicester advertising hoarding just below it, and bounces down. A gentleman did move towards it and then decided discretion was very much the better part of valour and ducked out of the way. But that was a mighty blow by Hanscom, an absolutely thumping blow. 33 he moves on to off 16, 56 for 1. If you do bang it into this pitch, it sits up. So that is not the length. Do not bowl too short, because the batsman, especially a batsman of Hanscom's quality, can adjust. He waits as Brown is in again. That's a better length, just dabbed out into the offside. Brown leaps towards the ball and picks it up left-handed and lobs it gently at the stumps. It misses the stumps. Hanscom, actually, who'd taken a few steps down, for some reason chose to dive back in, and it sort of all rather petered out as Brown's throw sort of lobbed feebly back from the stumps. Even so, a dot ball, not too bad in the circumstances for Leicestershire's power play, because they have reached 56 for 1 from it. Hanscom is 33 off 17, Patel 19 off 16. They are both still there, and well, very decent start on what is clearly a slightly tricky pitch to come to terms with. But Adam, once you do, perhaps that's the key. If you get in, then you can make runs. Yeah,
and Hanscom has, after what felt like a very positive but risk-free start, has started to play some slightly riskier shots, or some more agricultural shots. He's bludgeoned a few down the ground and has got on top of some deliveries outside off stump. He's played really well. 56 for 1. Some other news from another sport to bring you, which is that Katie Boulter is the Nottingham Open champion, Woodhouse Eve's very own. She's beaten Jodie Burridge in straight sets, and the British #1 has won there. Mia will bowl, and his first delivery is swept for... Oh, what a save! Well, nearly a brilliant catch from the fielder out at deep mid-wicket, who grabbed it above his head, but I think turned around and realised he was going to land over the boundary rope, or take it back over the boundary rope, so he chucked it back.
Santner, I think
it was Santner, and he has saved a 6, but it's not out, so 57 for 1 the score remains. Did they run through for? They run through for a single. So
just one in the end.
Patel, that was who shot, who's struck that slog sweep. Hanscom goes back to the second ball from Mir, and he's carved away, and they'll run through for 2 this time. So Hanscom on to 35. That was an extraordinary piece of fielding by Santner to collect it and get the
athleticism and timing is what they can do these days. And it was hit like a tracer, wasn't it? It was absolutely moving. Brilliant catch.
Mir tosses this one up. The Pakistan leg spinner is clipped into the leg side, and Santner is there once again. All of this done in mid-air.
Yes, yeah.
All of it, the catch and the chuck back was done mid-air before he landed on his landed flat.
The awareness where the rope is in mid-air is astonishing.
Mir tosses it up. Oh, and it's a Yorker. And Patel moved away, and all Patel can do is try and jab his bat down into the ground and try and carve it away, but he doesn't make any contact. There is no run. Mir, very interesting character. He's got the best economy rate in the competition as he comes in. Bowl, slog, swept. This is high up in the air. This could be a wicket. The fielders are watching it. Santner doesn't get there. It's 6. Just gets far enough over the rope and lands right in front of the meet there. There are some people in front of green benches who were ducking for cover. A woman in a red bucket hat was under threat there from that big high hit. And there's 6 more to the total. Big old heave that from Patel. He moves on to 26. 66 for 1. Mir in, bowls. Oh, it's a beauty. She stumped him. There's a big appeal, but no, says the umpire, the square leg umpire. Just got his foot back in time, but it was a beauty from Mir. Just got drift into the right-handed Patel and then got it to spin away from. And that was a beauty, but he doesn't get anything forward in the end. So end of the 7th over, Leicestershire is 66 for 1. What an eventful over that was, Richard.
It was.
10 runs from it. Hanscom 36, Patel 26. And Mir, who his economy rate, as I say, best in the T20 Blast at the moment, 6.25. He's played 4 innings. He's got the third best batting strike rate too. Just over 200, but he was punished there, and it could have been worse if it wasn't for Santner's athleticism. So that run rate 9.4 and over at the moment.
I think the breeze, such as it is, helped that high 6 from Patel. Just did enough to drop over the leaping Santner. Brett D'Oliveira is in from the Bennett end. Bowled Hanscom, and he's bowled him with his very first delivery. Hanscom went back, tried to work it into the leg side, and well, basically just missed it. I think it may have turned back in or hurried on a fraction. His back was to us. We'll have a look at the replay. But Hanscom, after that wonderfully bright innings, let's have a look at the replay. It turned a fraction, but he went back to a delivery that was quite well pitched up and missed it, essentially, trying to play across the line. But a very good start to the innings from Peter Hanscom, or given to the innings by Peter Hanscom, 36 off 20, but he goes, and Leicestershire are 66 for 2.
He'll be gutted about that. And again, I mean, we can't blame Peter Hanscom for some of Leicestershire's failings in this competition, but that again is another example of somebody getting to 35 and getting out. And it's been people going on from that point, which has been their problem. He played really well, Hanscom. He added some real impetus, some real pace and aggression to the start of the Foxes' innings. But a nice bit of bowling from D'Oliveira, who's got 11 wickets. So he's bowled really well in his past few games, going at a really low economy rate.
Yeah, he's always hard to get away. Tosses the ball from hand to hand, jogs in just a couple of steps and bowls to Colin Ackerman, who goes back and sort of tenses up as there is a little bit of spin, leg spin of course, and he pushes it suspiciously back down the pitch towards Brett D'Oliveira, who's in again, drops a little bit short, doesn't really get up though. Ackerman goes back, tries to work it back past D'Oliveira on the onside. D'Oliveira dives across to his right and again almost collides with Patel, but he makes the stop. In he goes, and Bowles tosses that one up and driven hard by Ackerman, but again straight back to D'Oliveira, who stops the ball in his follow-through. Thus far, a wicket maiden from Brett D'Oliveira, first 4 balls. A wicket and 3 dots. D'Oliveira is in. Ackerman is dancing down the wicket, more or less getting to the pitch of it, but whipping it straight to mid-wicket where Dylan Pennington, his blonde hair covered by his black cap. They're quite stylish, the Rapids, in their sort of black gear, don't they? Black with blue little highlights. Down the wicket again goes Ackerman. This time he has got it away, but only as far as long on. It'll be just the one. Well, great over from Brett D'Oliveira. Took a wicket with his first ball, conceded a single from his last. 4 dots in between, and that has really put the brakes on Leicestershire's charge towards potentially a score of sort of 180. They're on 67 for 2 after 8.
Yeah, brilliant both for getting the wicket and breaking what was a damaging partnership, and as you say, for the fact that only 1 run had come from it. D'Oliveira's last 3 games, 0 for 21, 0 for 16, 0 for 21. No wickets, but just able to keep that run rate so low of 4 overs each time. Very tall figure of Mia comes in, bowls. This one's dragged down a little bit in terms of its length, and it's clipped into the leg side by Ackerman. They run through for a 2. That's good running. There is an appeal for a run out, but it's very strangled and very short, and they scamper through for a second. Ackerman felt he was very unfortunately out, didn't he, in the last game? Clipped what he felt to be an above waist full toss straight to deep backward square leg first ball.
You could argue that he shouldn't have hit it straight. He should have put it somewhere over the Western Terrace.
Yes, you're
right. But yeah, he was a little bit unlucky not to get a call, for sure.
Mia, 18 on his back, spins the ball from his right to his left hand. He's now got it back in his right as he bowls, and again this is back of a length, and back goes Ackerman, tries to heave this into the leg side, but Santner is fielding. The New Zealander collects and throws in left-handed. It's been a mixed campaign for Ackerman. He's had a couple of really good innings. Bit of injury in there too, but and of course the 70 odd against Derby as Mir comes in, tosses this one up, back goes Patel, and hoists this down towards long on, where it is fielded by Josh Tongue and whipped in. 71 for 2 is the score. That run rate at 8.3, which is exactly how many overs we've had. That's Mir. Up to the wicket now, tosses it up. Oh, and he's scrolled him, has he? Or has he edged it? Yes, and Ackerman is walking. He went for a big heave over on the legs of the offside, sorry. Must have got a little inside edge, and it was well collected by Ben Cox behind the stumps. And the 3rd wicket falls for Leicestershire, and it's Ackerman's 2nd failure in a row, and the Foxes, from looking in a decent position at one stage and not too long ago either, they were what, 66 for 1, now find themselves 71 for 3.
Yeah, there's turn, which will interest Callum Parkinson and Rehan Ahmed and Ackerman himself. But yeah, they're just got to be a bit careful. Nice catch by Ben Cox, of course, behind the stumps.
Ackerman looking somewhat forlorn out there, shakes his head. He's got a wry smile on his face. And, well, this is... Again, it's these overs where they just struggle to push on. This has been a regular theme, hasn't it? That somebody on the top order will get to 35, then they'll lose quick wickets and they'll find themselves 71 for 3, 60 for 4, and 2 batsmen have to rebuild. Now, Patel, to be fair to him, is there at 27. But Worcestershire have played themselves well back into this game with these overs from Mir and from D'Oliveira.
The slip has gone in. You don't often see that in the 9th over of the T20.
71 for 3, then Kimber, the new man. He's up to the wicket, Mir. He bowls, back goes Kimber, clips this into the leg side. It'll be fielded by Santner, who runs to his right to a more square mid-wicket position. Greetings
to Fango Foxes asking whether Mulder's fit to bowl. No, is the short answer.
They have missed him, haven't they, in terms of the balance to their bowling. Mir. High arm as he comes in. Oh, and there's an appeal for leg before wicket and given. And Patel has to go this time, and he looks back. in a slightly confused manner. It did look a bit high, but he went so far back, Richard, that might have stopped him, because it pretty much hit him, I would say, a few inches from the stumps. So we're going to watch the replay now. He's got a bent leg. He's got a bent back leg as well, which it crashes into, and that looked plumb. Big appeal for leg before wicket, and it was given by the umpire. So 72 for 4. This is a hugely damaging period for the Foxes. In the past 2 overs, they've lost 3 wickets, and Patel, who's the other batsman in on 27, has to go, and now Kimber and Vian Mulder will have to rebuild from this position at the end of the 9th over. But that was 2 wickets in that over and just 5 runs from it, so 6 runs have come off the last 2 overs. The Foxes stuttering and spluttering their way through their middle overs.
Spin is clearly going to be a huge factor in this game. In comes Vian Mulder then. Louis Kimber will have to adjust. He won't be able to hit in the same way as he hit at Headingley the other day, but he's got a little bit of time. Still 11 overs to go as D'Oliveira is in to Kimber. A little bit wide. Kimber goes back and chops it away into the offside, drives it away off the back foot, but Mir, who for a big man, as you say, he's actually quite good at getting down and manages to stop the ball. Again, it's a little bit short. Again, Kimber goes back. That might have been the one that came back. A bit difficult to tell from where we are. Certainly it was inside part of Kimber's bat as he tried to force, ran it out to Pennington at mid-wicket. D'Oliveira is in, driving in the air, over extra cover. Lovely shot from Louis Kimber. That sort of in-out loft into the offside, over the top, miles over the top of Osama Mir. Bounced. Actually, very nearly went for 6, didn't he? It was only a couple of feet inside the ropes in front of the ground staff and the electronic scoreboard over there. Beautifully timed by Louis Kimber.
Just over pitch from D'Oliveira,
who is in again. That looked a little bit over pitched as well. Kimber went back though and cut it away towards backward. Point takes 1.
It was more accurate in terms of the line though, that delivery. He both over pitched and was a little too wide on the previous delivery, whereas there he got it straighter.
Gosh, that was a gorgeous pickup though, over extra cover.
Great arched blade.
Beautiful. Timing. D'Oliveira is in, drops a little bit short, goes down a little bit low, bottom edge onto the pad, saves Vian Mulder. They went back, tried to work it into the onside, and it almost crept underneath his bat. End of the over, 77 for 4, so no wickets falling in the over, but only the 5 runs added. But 4 of them were beautiful.
So that run rate down to 8 and over. Happy Father's Day to those celebrating too on this Sunday. You know, the man sat behind us, Richard, Owen Palmer-Atkin, got a Father's Day card today. You know, he's got no children though, and there isn't one on the way either. But do you know what he does have?
Okay.
He has a dog.
Oh. Daddy. Oh my word.
So Wesley, his adorable dog.
He got a card from his dog. He got a card from his dog.
Labradoodle.
Okay.
Labradoodle. Got him a Father's Day card.
Nico's got a Labradoodle, I think.
He's got a cockapoo.
Okay.
The new overs of wicket first delivery, and it'll be Santner who's got the wicket, bowling a full straight delivery. Kimber went for the drive, and it just followed him as he moved across his stumps, went for the big drive, and it has knocked his leg stump back. That wasn't the best shot from Kimber, who's trying to force the issue and has to depart for 6. And Leicestershire have totally subsided from 66 for 1 to 77 for 5.
Yeah. The way he started his innings, Louis Kimber, he only faced 6 deliveries, but he looked to be sort of playing quite sensibly, if you know what I mean, that he was judging the pitch well and the difficulties therein, but not on that occasion. Playing back is risky on a pitch like this, and unfortunately he paid the penalty. What will Rehan make of it?
Owen just saying to me there behind us that we've got our headphones on, so I don't think we caught it, but the rumbles of thunder faintly in the distance.
Yeah.
It is due to rain at about 4 o'clock, it's 3:10 now. Santner then, 1.1 overs, 1 for 10, the New Zealander. A big tall man, very experienced, up to the wicket now. He tosses it up and it's driven by Ahmed. That would have given him a rush of blood to the head, I'm sure, as he wanted to drive that. It was in the slot, but he sensibly played that, did the England international. And you had 2 players on naught when they both came in, the worst case scenario. Mulder has got a shock of orange on his bat as he holds his bat just above his hips, and he plays this down the ground and he'll scamper through for a single. We did see a slightly different type of innings, didn't we, against Yorkshire from him, where he was more aggressive. 31 from 17 balls. He started quite slowly but then really ramped it up, hit a few big sixes, and picked out deep mid-wicket, didn't he, I remember. Santner tosses this one up. Oh, it's a beauty. Just confusing and tempting Ahmed over whether to come forward or back. He went forward, but it was on the rise, a thick outside edge which squirts away to cover where Mir is waiting. Santner drags this one down and back goes Ahmed, guiding it into the leg side where mid-wicket is fielding. And goodness me, this innings has totally collapsed. They were going at a good 9.5 and over not too long ago. It's totally dropped to 7.4. Mulder on 1, Ahmed on 2, and it's the South African who's facing. Santner bowls. It's a good length, that. Don't know whether to come forward or back to that either, and he just pushes it down the ground. End of the over. Is that 4 off it, Richard?
Yes.
4 singles. Ahmed 2, Mulder 2. And 11 overs gone. Leicestershire in a bit of doo-doo right now because they are struggling.
Key now is really to sort of play the overs out, bearing in mind the potential weather that's around as well. Try and get 140, 150 on the board. And no, it will turn for our spinners as well, for Leicestershire spinners too. In goes D'Oliveira, back goes Mulder, forces back towards the bowler, who dives to his left, gets a couple of hands to the ball, but simply slows it en route too long off. So Mulder takes 1, moves on to 3, brings Rehan down on strike. D'Oliveira is in a huge full toss that is hit over extra cover, should bounce away for 4, does bounce away for 4. Got that one badly wrong, Brett D'Oliveira. Absolutely juiciest of full tosses outside off stump, and smashed over extra cover, bounce just short of the ropes by Rehan Ahmed. Not one to look the proverbial gift horse. D'Oliveira in again. Ahmed goes back, and well, I think he was trying to hit it through the offside there, and it came off a thick inside edge and ran through mid-on out towards long on. Certainly D'Oliveira's hands went into the air. Ahmed on to 7. 87 for 5. D'Oliveira into Mulder, again tossed right up, half volley, driven out to long off, and 1 taken. Mulder's sort of correct style might just work here for Leicestershire. If he hangs around to the end, ends up 40 or 50, that would be okay. Down the wicket goes Rehan Ahmed, trying to hit over long on. He's going to be caught, and he is caught. Well, yeah, we've had this debate quite a few times about Rehan, haven't we? It's the way he plays, and sometimes he may need just to temper that approach according to the conditions. With so many overs left to be bowled, was that the wisest choice of shot? Clearly it wasn't. Had he cleared long on, everybody would have been saying, well done, Rehan, but he didn't. That's the fact, and it was caught by Adam Hose comfortably. You know, not even on the rope. He had to sort of come in a few feet to take it. Absolutely clothed it out there. And suddenly, Leicestershire, having been 67 for 1, are 88 for 6. Yep. 21 for 5.
That is an absolute collapse, subsidence And Scriven can hold a bat. That's certainly true. He's a very talented batsman. But we are now into the bowlers, and that is why Ahmed, you could argue, needed to be a little bit safer there. He was the last of the established batsmen, and now they're, with the final ball of the 12th over to go, going to be fighting to post a score of any nature.
They did cross the batters, so D'Oliveira... No, they didn't, actually. D'Oliveira is in to Scriven, who works it out into the leg side again, going back and playing it cross-batted riskily off a thick inside edge. But he picked up one, and he keeps a strike. 89 for 6, so there was the 4 in the over. So 8 runs from it in the end, but the wicket was probably the more important moment. 89 for 6 off 12.
Yes, so at one stage, Leicestershire 66.
Yeah,
for
67 for 1, yeah.
67 for 1.
Yeah.
And with Hanscom and Patel there, looked like they set a really decent total. And now what they're on for 130, 140, Richard, at best.
Afraid so. He's looking that way.
Santner will continue his third over, 1 for 14 his figures so far. He comes in, bowls to Scriven, who's forward and drives to cover. There is no run. Mia has got a charismatic figure. Very lively, looks full of personality, but it's Santner, slightly more languid figure, comes in, bowls this straight and flat and quick. But it goes to Mia. But it was just wide of him this time, so Leicestershire able to scamper through to a single. They get 90 now for 6, 12.2 overs, that run rate down to 7.3. Santner, fair-haired, short run-up, tall man, comes in, bowls, and no foot movement from Mulder, but he tries to guide this late behind square on the offside, and it's fielded by Josh Tongue. And there is no run. It's quiet at Grace Road as Santner comes in, tosses it up, Mulder goes to drive and plays it down the ground. They're going to go for 2 here. Mulder, in fact, does come through comfortably for the second. So 92 for 6. It's deliveries like that, and I guess Mulder has to play this way now. It's up to him to probably get 40 or 50, and he can afford to take 35, 40 balls in order to get that. As Santner comes in, Mulder drives straight to Mia. There will be no run to cover, and he tilts his head back in frustration, does Mulder, as he does so. But it was that delivery, the previous one, tossed up half volley. A lot of players would have gone for that. It was in the slot, and he played a safer shot. Santner in, tossed up, driven along the ground by Mulder, and that is the benefit of that approach. But again, he doesn't get the boundary because it's very well fielded by Brown out there, the England T20 player, who tumbles to the ground as he collects the ball but gets up quickly. 2 more added to the total. Mulder again frustrated. He bashes his fist into his hip, and that is the end of the over. 94 for 6, so 5 off it. And I'm just going to look at the overs recently. Since the 7th, when Leicestershire got 10, the overs have been 1, 5, 5, 4, 8, and now 5. And they're not going to post any kind of competitive total with those kind of runs per over.
It doesn't look that way. You can only, as I say, hope that Leicestershire's spinners bowlers sensibly and get as much out of the wicket as the Worcestershire spinners have obtained. D'Oliveira, to finish his spell, is in, outside off stump, and spun back in a little bit, and again Scriven can only sort of force it out into the offside where Mia feels and then indicates with his right hand that it came back, moved. Actually it was the conventional leg spinner, but did too much as far as Scriven was concerned. D'Oliveira is in, ditto, almost exactly the same result, same delivery, just that side off stump, spinning away. Scriven goes back, tries to work it into the offside, doesn't time it. This time D'Oliveira fields off his own bowling. In he goes, bowls, tosses it up, thick inside edge from Scriven as he flicks it out into the leg side. Brown, with that lightning throw of his. I'd hate to be a keeper sometimes at T20 because they absolutely whistle it in, and it bounced just in front of Cox, who took it cleanly, but hands must be, well, pretty sore at the end of an innings. Mulder waits for that one, looks to work it through mid-on, can't get it past Pennington, diving away to his left. So far just the one run from the first 4 balls of the over. D'Oliveira is in. Well, that's going to be 2 runs because it's driven through the vacant mid-off area by Vian Mulder, who jogs a single. 95 for 6 coming to the end of the 14th over. D'Oliveira coming to the end of his spell is in and bowls. Scriven works it away off the back foot out to the sweeper on the offside boundary and takes 1. 3 singles from the over. D'Oliveira finishes with figures of 2 for 17 from his 4 overs. Leicestershire 97 for 6 after 14. 6 remain. If they can get 50 off the last 6? It's kind of what they need. That would give them 147.
Did you get one? If they get 150, I think that is a
something to work with, isn't it? With the pitch turning.
Yeah, defendable total, just about. Mia, then, the tall Pakistan leg spinner, will continue from the pavilion end down below us. He will move away from us as he starts his run. Starts it almost like a sprinter would from a standing start.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a poor delivery, long hop, and that's scooped for 4. That's a terrible delivery. And Scriven gives it the punishment that it deserves. It was a rank long hop down the leg side. All he had to do was paddle it round the corner. 4 runs. And that's 100 up for Leicestershire, which is greeted with I don't know whether that's relief, irony. By the
little bit
crowd.
of ironic applause, wasn't there? And a few cheers, but that was the sort of delivery that rather gives county cricket a bad name.
Yeah.
That was awful.
International cricket a bad name. He's an international player.
Any cricket, yeah.
Is Sam Amir. 2 for 19 as he comes in bowls. That's a much better delivery. That gives county cricket a good name. Tossed up outside the off stump, forcing Scriven to try and go back, but it was too good for him, too quick for him. Zipped off the surface, and there is no run. Scriven on 8 off 9 deliveries. Leicester's run rate 7 and over as he comes in, tosses this one up, it's hit down the ground by Mulder, who's going to be caught at long on. And then another wicket falls. And it is Santner, the man to collect it. Mulder has to head off. And
it wasn't bright, was it?
Another wicket falls for the Foxes. And it's Scriven who goes for 8. The Foxes 101 now for 7.
Not quite sure what he was thinking there. Tom really want to get on, I suppose, and get after it, but with the amount of overs that are left, well...
He didn't hit it, he didn't go for it enough, he didn't throw his hands to it. You either play that shot safely or you launch it, and he just sort of...
fell in between the two stools, didn't he, rather? Yeah.
Good enough shot if you had all the fielders in, perfectly good, but it was not suitable when you've got the men out. You really need to bludgeon it if you're going to get it for 6. So the new man, Mike Finan, and we really are now into... I mean, Finan can smack it about a bit. He tries to give the ball a big heave, but we really are into the tail enders now. And the Foxes are in deep trouble here.
3 for 19 for Samamir now. And he's only in his 3rd over.
He's up to the wicket, he bowls. Oh, he's bowled, Finan, first delivery. Quick. And flat and sharp. And it has knocked back the off stump of Mike Finan, who walks off sorrowfully.
Didn't have a clue, did he?
No.
Michael, he genuinely did not know how to play that delivery. Half back, half forward. What's it going to do? He didn't have a clue.
He looked up, back up, down the pitch at the bowler as if he didn't actually know what had happened. I'm not sure he even saw it. We're just watching the replay now. Oh, it's a beauty. It is. I think it's the
Came
googly.
back a bit, yeah.
I think it's the
lovely
googly.
loop to it as well. It was a good ball, in fairness, for Mike, but ouch.
Nice little drift on that ball from Mir. That was a sublime delivery as he gets his 4th wicket. And he's still got 1.2 overs to get his 5 for Richard, with 2 wickets left for Leicestershire. And just to reiterate, if you're just joining us, Worcestershire against Leicestershire live at Grace Road. The Foxes were 67 for 1. They're now 101 for 8.
I'm searching for sort of consolation here. Well, he can't get Acker's record, can he? He can't match 7 for.
No. The consolation is that it
he can only
rain.
get 6 for. Then there's rain possibly on the way.
So Mia, 2 overs, 2 balls left.
This is an interesting field for the 15th over for T20.
We've got
short
mid-wicket
slip
as he comes in, bowls. Oh, and it's Parkinson who was fiddling and fidgeting all the way.
It's a good one, wasn't it? It's still a good leg spinner.
Yeah, defends it well though. Does the number 9 for the Foxes. Mir then final ball of his 3rd over, up to the wicket. He bowls. Oh, and he's hit on the pad. But it goes to short, fine leg, and that is the end of the over. So 4 off it.
And 2 wickets.
But 2 wickets. And, well, you remember, it was a blazingly sunny day, wasn't it, this time last year? I remember it was the day before Leicester Tigers went down to Twickenham to win the Premiership. In fact, it was a year ago, 366 days ago it was, so it would have been the 17th of June. Last year, Worcestershire came here and got absolutely battered, didn't they? Leicestershire were able to just turn them over quite comfortably. They won 2 games all year. They were the team that were really struggling, and the tables appear to have turned somewhat. And yes, Worcestershire have lost their last 4, but they started well in this competition. They're fighting for a quarter-final place. Leicestershire in trouble.
Josh Tongue trying to finish things off for the Rapids. Bowls to Mulder, who drives firmly out into the offside. Good piece of fielding away to his left at extra cover. Keeps Mulder 2-1. Happy. Not really much choice, I suppose, to give Parkinson the strike at this still relatively. There's still what 5 overs, well 4 overs and 5 deliveries to go. So. Have to keep rotating the strike, and Parkinson is a perfectly competent tail ender, but he is a tail ender, so he will also have to look to push ones as Tongue goes in, bowls to him, and it's a little bit slow as it bounces up outside off stump, but a little flick of the wrist, Parkinson, and somehow runs out towards mid-on. Comes running in from deepish mid-on, Adam Hose with 2 catches to his name already. Neither of which he looked at all like dropping. Parkinson off the mark, 103 for 8. Mulder on 10 off 13, changes to the field. They're going to have to bring somebody else in, yes, and Pennington comes in from long on to short. Fine leg, except it's a little bit wider than that. Tongue is in, bowls. Mulder is chopping it out into the offside. Mere fields at backward point. Mulder, who advanced down the wicket, was sent back, probably correctly, by Parkinson. Mere threw at the stumps anyway, missed them. Parkinson wanders down. So everything he sort of does on a cricket field has a slightly sort of belligerent air. Callum Parkinson carries himself like a man who's out there to compete. And he came marching down to discuss matters with Vian Mulder. It was a brief discussion. Tongue turns. Shortish run is in. Mulder makes room, backs away. He's followed by Tongue, and is a little unlucky, Tongue, to be called for a wide down the leg side. It was obviously down the leg side, but Mulder had backed away and then tried to pull it. It was just, I suppose, too wide.
It was millimetres from his clothing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough one that on the bowler when the batter has sort of stepped back as well. But there you go. Tongue, his run-up seems to be getting shorter. Drops that one in, bangs it short, and Mulder, violent attempt to pull the delivery. Thick bottom edge, runs behind square. Sanders out there at the moment. Deep backward square in front of the manual scoreboard. 1 is taken, but I'm afraid a very flat atmosphere up at the Upton Steel County Ground at the moment. 105 for 8. 2 balls to go in the over. Tongue is in. Parkinson is working it off the back foot, backward of square, down towards the boundary. The sweeper chases around, picks up, gets his throw away, and just 1 is taken. It is dark out there. No, not dark enough for sort of floodlights or anything like that, but it does feel as though the storm is gathering somewhat. 4 o'clock, Adam, you said, didn't you? It's sort of beginning to feel a bit that way. Leicestershire are 106, a 4-9.
Yeah, we must credit Worcestershire to be fair. D'Oliveira and Mir in those middle overs completely turned the game. They bowled really tight stuff, really clever stuff, really inventive T20 blast cricket. And Leicester just haven't been able to cope with it. Mulder didn't really get going. 15 deliveries it took for him to get that 11 runs. I'm not sure he hit a boundary, did he, Richard? No, he didn't. So, it's not his fault. He stuck around and he didn't have a partner to play with, but we are now into the final partnership. The final wicket for the Foxes. Parkinson and now Matt Salisbury will have to salvage something. 120 would be nice.
They're 40 for 8, pretty much, as in goes Mir and bowl. Is it me or you?
It's me,
Beg your
Mir,
pardon.
who comes across and sweeps. And it's a brilliant shot, actually. A real paddle stroke from Parkinson, who moves across his stumps and guides it behind square. And so the score is 108 for 9. I'll try and get 120. As Parkinson drives this straight at the fielder. In fact, that's Salisbury, isn't it? I'm looking at the scoreboard in front of me, and I can see Callum Parkinson's number 10 on the back of his shirt at the non-striker's end. So it's Salisbury. Raises his bat high. Oh, he's beaten outside off stump. And the beauty from Mir, who will be chasing his fifer.
He's scored. This is his career best at the moment.
As Mir is up to the wicket, he bowls. Oh, and it's chipped high up in the air. Is it going to be caught? No, it's just safe. Agonisingly close to the Worcestershire fielder. And it remains 109 for 9. They scamper through for a single there to Parkinson, so he's on to 5. Salisbury has a look around. And Mir will come in now. Up to the wicket, he bowls. Oh, nearly plays on first ball.
I don't think he read that one, Matt.
And it's 4 for 22.
That was the googly.
Score.
Came back.
So final ball for Mir to get his fifer. He's up to the wicket, tosses it up. Oh, it's a googly again. And forward comes Salisbury, who gets a thick inside edge, and so it dribbles back to him. And that finishes a brilliant spell of bowling for Mir. 4 for 22 there. How many runs off that over in the end, Richard? 3?
Just the 3, yeah.
Just
and
the 3.
A career best for Usama Mir at T20.
Yes, that's right.
Lots of congratulations.
His previous best was 4 for 22. So he's beaten that quite. Oh no, that is his best, isn't it? That's it's just updated on his quick info there. So yes, 4 for 22, his best figures. He's bowled brilliantly, really cleverly, and the man. It's been spin that's done the damage, isn't it? Santner,
yeah.
Oliveira, and Mir. So something for the Foxes to think about. They've got Ahmed, Parkinson, Ackerman. They have good enough spinners to use.
Kimber. It was a more than useful off-spinner. Santner trying to finish things off, then bowls incredibly slowly. This must be, what, it's not far, 50 mile an hour stuff, is it? Really gentle stuff. It fires in the odd quicker one, but he'll want one more here. Pushed back to him by Parkinson, who's dancing down to that one, then turning his wrists on it and pushing the next delivery to Pennington. 2.4 overs to go and 109 for 9 as Santner is in. Down the wicket goes. Parkinson lobs it up towards long on. It's going to bounce short of the fielder, who did very well to sort of stop it on the run, trying to get his hands underneath it and catch it. I think it might be D'Oliveira out there at the moment, it is, and pushed it across to his fellow boundary rider to be thrown back in. Parkinson manages to pick up 111 for 9. Santner in to Parkinson. That's his quicker ball, but he tends to drag it down a little bit, and Parkinson goes back and works it out to deep backwards square. In comes Pat Brown to field. 1 is taken. Brings Matt Salisbury down on the strike. I don't know why I'm laughing. I mean, we wouldn't have read Mears' googlies. Well, I certainly wouldn't. I don't think. But it does make you look a bit of a clot, doesn't it, when you've got a bat in your hand? In goes Santner and bowls. Salisbury is very suspicious and waiting for that fairly conventional left arm spinner that's just pushed back towards the Kiwi. Slip is in as Santner is in, and again minimal foot movement from Matt Salisbury, but he does keep it out. End of the over, the 18th of Leicestershire's innings. They picked up 3 runs from it, all to Callum Parkinson, who's 8 not out of 12. Matt Salisbury yet to score off 4, and 112 for 9 with 2 overs to go.
So 120 would be something to get up to a run a ball, would probably be the target right now. It's not these two players' fault. They're not there to get the runs, they're there to get the wickets, and they will be grumpy that they won't have a lot to defend. And Worcestershire will be cock-a-hoop about the way that this innings has gone. I really thought you and Hanscom and Patel were in earlier, Richard, that
yeah, it looked like it was going to be a decent score, didn't it? But hey.
Pat Brown will bowl the penultimate over. He's only bowled 1 over so far. 12 runs have come off it. He's up to the wicket now. He bowls, and there's a big swipe from Parkinson. He misses it entirely. And Brown stands and stares at the spinner. Not overly impressed with that shot across the line. I think he saw it as probably rather insulting. Well, there hasn't been any real sign of rain. The dark clouds that were here just before we started have dissipated. It's grey skies, but it's high-grade cloud as this is driven. Oh, what a catch! And Leicestershire are all out. It's D'Oliveira backpedaling and stuck out his right hand to grab it well above his head. And that's it. He's got bucket hand, I suppose you could describe it as. That was an excellent catch, brilliant athleticism, and that is the end of the Leicestershire innings. They've been bowled out for 109, and let's not forget, I will reiterate, at one stage they were 67 for 1 with Peter Hanscom and Rishi Patel going on very nicely indeed, and then since then they have fallen to 109 all out, so 112 all out, apologies, with Parkinson on 8 and Salisbury yet to score. So that is the end of a very disappointing innings for Leicestershire. They have been humbled by the Worcestershire spinners more than anything. Credit must go to Assam Amir with career best figures in this format, as well as Brett D'Oliveira, who did very well too, and Mitchell Santner, and it will be 113 to win.
Yeah, to lose your last 9 wickets for what, less than 50, then there's not much you can say really about that. There are no positives really to be taken from that. Fair play to Worcester, they caught everything, didn't they, and fielded like demons. That stop on the boundary by Santner in particular, although it didn't, he made the catch and then had to throw the ball back in, so it wasn't completed, but it was brilliant, and they took every single chance that was offered. Unfortunately, there were plenty of them, and 112 will take an awful lot of defending. You never quite know, but knowing that, and with the weather that may be around, Worcester now they'll crack on. They'll look to just keep ahead of the DLS. The DLS will be on the board, and what do we need? 5 overs. So if 5 overs, if they're ahead of the DLS at that point, then that's all they have to do, essentially, and then they don't care if the rain comes because it's theirs already for the taking. Unfortunate for the Foxes, but, well, that's a bit of a nadir, I'm afraid, Owen.
Yes,
Well, Adam Whitty, Richard Ray, thank you very much. Leicestershire all out for 112, and as Richard rightly says, that's going to take an awful lot of defending from Leicestershire. I mean, Colin Ackerman told us before this one, shortly after the toss, that they were aiming for 170. Richard and Adam were talking about potentially maybe going a little bit further, 180, 190, maybe even 200. But in the end, guys, they've fallen well short of that.
Yeah, you know, in fairness, we hadn't had a really good look at the pitch, and the pitch is not a 170, sort of 180 pitch unless you're really good and bat really cleverly. Leicestershire did initially with particular through Peter Hanscom, who batted really, really nicely, and his dismissal, being bowled by D'Oliveira for 36 in the 8th over, was probably the end of Leicestershire's chances really of making a really good score. Rishi Patel, who's been in form, 27 off 23, but everybody else really, really struggled with a sort of lack of pace, and bounce in the track. Worcestershire should as well. If Leicestershire bowl well, they should make them work for these runs, but they know that they don't have to take half as many chances. Leicestershire were hitting the ball up in the air, thinking they needed more and more, and you can't see Worcestershire not winning this from here.
It would take an almighty effort bowling-wise from Leicestershire, Adam, and they have to go out and they have to be aggressive first and foremost. Of course they do, but they need to almost start forcing Worcestershire into mistakes in this one, because as Richard rightly says, they are able to take it.
5.6 and over, and they're going above that already, 6 and over.
And it is going to be Ackerman from the Bennett end. It's all Leicestershire can do, really. They know pace will not do it for them. They have to go with spin almost from the start and stay with spin. It's a shame, a lot of kids here, with it being an afternoon start and enjoying themselves, and it'd be nice to see Leicestershire really sort of competing. But they're struggling at the moment. Ackerman is in to Jack Haynes, a little bit short, so Haynes can go back and clip it firmly out towards mid-wicket. Louis Kimber out there in the empty acres in front of the manual scoreboard. Single taken. Haynes on to 2-7 without loss. They'll be having half an eye on the DLS, the Duckworth Lewis Stern method, as Ackerman is in. Clipped again, more or less the same place by D'Oliveira. It was a better length delivery, but it was a little bit leg side, so D'Oliveira could just stand in his crease and work it aerially through the vacant mid-wicket area out towards Kimber. Singles off each of the first 2 deliveries. Ackerman is in. Haynes, a little bit unsure, forward or back. Didn't do either in the end. It came back towards him a touch and he sort of levered it out into the offside. Rather ugly defensive push. Did its job though. Ackerman is in, dropping very short down the leg side. That will be signalled wide, and is. Haynes did try to work it away, missed it. Hanscom didn't take it cleanly, moving to his left behind the stumps, but has to bowl it again. Ackerman is in, slog swept in the air, and it's going to bounce away to square leg by Haynes. Over the boundary it goes. He got plenty of it, swept on length obviously. A little bit, well, obviously uppish, but hit it solidly enough. Picks up 4. Solid start by the Rapids. Leicestershire did, remember, make a good start. They were 36 for 1 off 4 overs. In goes Ackerman again, drops a little bit short. Haynes goes back, tries to club it through the offside, but doesn't get it, and cloths it slightly out towards Parkinson at mid-off. 13 without loss. They've already got the runs they need off the over though, as Ackerman goes in. Haynes is leaning forward and on driving aerially, but long on is out. There is no mid-on, and so a comfortable one is taken to finish the over. 8 from it, and no real risks taken by the Worcestershire batsmen. They're going to have to give it some air and say, go on and try and hit this for 6. And well, that is very difficult to do during a power play, or a very brave thing to do during a power play when all your fielders, bar 2, are up inside the circle.
Yeah, they've just got to be aggressive, but the worrying thing from a Leicestershire perspective was how comfortable Worcestershire looked there in those opening 2 overs. They're 14 for no loss. They require 99 to win, as Parkinson is in. Back goes Haynes and crashes this into the covers, where it's fielded by Scriven. 88 on his back. Is it 2 fat ladies in bingo? 88. Parkinson up to the wicket. Bowls. It's driven, and that's past Tom Scriven. And can I say 2 fat ladies anymore?
You said it twice. Yes, it's a problem for the various amusement bingo arcades around the country.
Parkinson runs away from us now to the wicket. He bowls, slog swept for 4. That's a lovely shot. He was really onto that quickly, Haynes, and has clattered that to the boundary rope, straight as a dart at a 90-degree angle. And this looks worryingly comfortable for Worcestershire as they chase down 113. They have already got to 20 for no loss. Haynes on to 13, 93 required to win. Parkinson up to the wicket, tosses this one up, and it's driven straight at Scriven, who stops the ball. He spills it slightly, but not enough for them to scamper through for a run. Apologies if I have offended you with my
not me, no.
Outdated. Oh no, I meant more widely with my outdated bingo references. Parkinson bowls, back goes Haynes, and again finds Scriven, who's been in the game in every delivery, I think bar 1 in this over. 20 for no loss is the score. Parkinson none for 12 from his 1.5 overs as he comes in blonde haired, orange soles to his boots, and Haynes drives down the ground. He will keep the strike. D'Oliveira might be a little bit grumpy with him as he's hogging it at the moment. He is on the 214. The score 21 for no loss. That run rate at 7 and over. The required one, it's already at 5.4. Worcestershire require 92 to win. And they've got 17 overs to do it. Have a look at how many balls that is, but it will be what? Trying to do 102. Trying to do maths on air again, Richard. Will I ever learn? 102 balls.
Well, they're going to give the ball to Matt Salisbury, so Ackerman just the one over. He didn't really toss it up in it. And so they're going to see what Salisbury can do. He did pick up a wicket and it wasn't with his first ball. Well, I don't think it certainly was in his first over of playing T20 for Leicestershire, Matt Salisbury. Against Durham. I can't quite remember even who against whom it was, but they're ahead of Duckworth Lewis by a long way already. Worcester. They need to be on 17 at the end of this over. They're already on 21. As Salisbury comes in and the ball stays a bit low, but Haynes works it nicely off the back foot out towards mid wicket. Kimber comes in and fields, throws on the bounce to Hanscom. Single taken, 22. Without loss. And if they get through this over and the next, then we have a game on our hands. We will have a result come what may.
Doesn't look ominous, does it, weather-wise?
You think they get through the next two anyway, for sure. Salisbury is in. D'Oliveira backs away, makes room. Salisbury follows him. Ball thumps into the pad of D'Oliveira, trickles out towards short leg. Tom Scriven comes into field, and the leg by is signalled by umpire David Milnes.
Doesn't look windy, does it really? The trees to our right hand side. There's special. What is the name of the tree or the type of tree over on our right hand side? The very nice ones.
I would have to look it up. In goes Salisbury and bowls, worked by Haynes out through the offside. Not much foot movement, but playing the ball off the pitch out to the sweeper on the offside. He too takes one. There are some Rowans I know over there. Somebody told me, so it could be. They could be Rowans. The limes down this side, down the Milligan Road side of the ground, the net side of the ground. I think they're mostly Rowan trees.
I was going to say they're not really moving much in the breeze.
Salisbury is in to D'Oliveira, squares him up with a slightly slower delivery that maybe just moves away a touch off the seam and indicates as much with his right hand. D'Oliveira, it bounces off the thick outside edge out towards Rehan Ahmed. Anticlimax really, sort of a damp squib at the moment, isn't it? As for the crowd, it is not a bad crowd really. That a fair few have come in, probably a sort of 1,800, 2,000, something like that. As Salisbury is in, D'Oliveira gets a short ball that he helps around the corner, pulls down towards Matt. Callum even, Parkinson, and I think Matt there. They're not dissimilar, obviously, being twins. And one is taken. Well, Matt hasn't really come into the discussions despite having played for England last year.
No, I was reading an article about how he was sort of the next cab off the rank. People were clawing for him to come into the team, and now he's gone away, really.
Salisbury is in, clipped in the air and out by Haynes. Picked out the wrong man as far as Haynes and Worcester were concerned, because Louis Kimber doesn't drop many. He hit it almost too cleanly. He stepped across his stumps, tried to whip it away, did whip it away, but so cleanly it carried a good 60 yards in the air, but straight towards Louis Kimber, who took a neat two-handed catch. So they have a wicket, the Foxes, and that will affect Duckworth Lewis slightly, but not sufficiently to put Leicestershire back in front in those terms. End of the fourth over, Worcester are 25 for 1 behind if you go on comparison terms, but you can't really.
No, they are well ahead of that run rate still, and as I said, I mean, it's pretty much impossible for them. Oh no, at the end of the over, if it was a maiden, if we got to the end of the over and the rain came and it was a maiden this next
it'd be
over,
a tie.
It would be a tie. So they basically need 1 run to guarantee it Duckworth Lewis wise.
Well, at the moment they're ahead of the game anyway,
Yeah.
so it would only be after that 1 ball.
Yeah.
That's a very specific call for rain after exactly at that point.
So the next bowler will be Mike Finan, who had a very interesting time for the Yorkshire, didn't he, Richard? He was bowling a lot of deliveries outside off stump, wide outside off stump, trying to keep the run rate low. But he kept bowling wide.
He did, unfortunately, yeah.
And it was part of a very strange spell. But to be honest, it was famine or feast, really, from a Leicestershire perspective. A lot of their bowlers got hit all over the place. He'll bowl left arm, very slingy action. He's up to the wicket, he bowls. Slower delivery first up, well disguised. And it's played straight back to him, and there is no run. 25 for 1 is the score.
Yeah, you have to take the pace off, don't you? But try and disguise it as best you can.
D'Oliveira 7 not out. 50 and 47 in his last 2 innings, so he's in form.
Floodlights.
Oh yes, the floodlights just flickering on as Finan comes in, bowls, and it's turned around the corner, but picks out the fielder at fine leg. It's quite square, and there will just be the single. And D'Oliveira will be frustrated at that as he timed that nicely. And Santner, the new man, will face his first delivery, the New Zealander. 149 runs in 5 innings. He's got a start in every single innings. 26, 27, 57 and 33 so far. Did his job with the ball, and he marks his guard. He's a left-hander. Scrapes his studs to mark his guard and stands with his bat raised high as Finan comes in, bowls a straight delivery. It's pushed out into the offside by the Kiwi, and it's fielded by Rohan Ahmed, a backward point, his specialist position. There's a nice atmosphere out there. You can just hear the murmurings of the crowd in the background on our effects microphone. Quite a lot of activity out there. There's quite a lot of young people, young kids and things out with their parents today on Father's Day. As Finan comes in. Grey skies above, he's up to the wicket, he bowls. Oh, and an edge! And that's going to race away for at least a single as it chases on, and it's fielded brilliantly, actually. Good quick hands by the man down there, who launched it in right-handed. Perfect throw as well on the bounce to Peter Hanscom.
Should be Salisbury down there, I think it is.
He raced round, picked that up really handily. So 27 for 1, 86 to win of 15.2 overs. That's D'Oliveira, 8 not out, waits. We've got a right-hand, left-handed combination now as the right-handed D'Oliveira tries to flick a ball down the leg side away, but that's given us a wide. The umpire's arms raised out horizontally to signal such. Floodlights coming on very slowly, they come on bit by bit. So you've got about 50% of the bulbs working at the moment. In each of the, what are there, 6
pylons, yeah.
As Finan comes in, bowls Yorker, which is well bowled and well played by D'Oliveira, 8 off 11. Just plays that straight back to him. Final ball of Finan's over. Just 3 off it so far. When you consider one of them was a wide, that's not too shabby.
D'Oliveira took a long look at the scoreboard there. He just knows they have to. They're okay at the moment, ahead of DLS, and we're coming up to the end of the 5th.
He stands, a diminutive figure is D'Oliveira. He moves across his stumps and drives at a full delivery. They wanted to scamper through for a single, but he hit it straight at backward point. And that is the end of the over, and Finan conceding just 3 off it. Well, if they go like that for the rest of the innings, they might have a chance, but they are defending 113, Leicestershire, and they are not doing well enough as it stands, despite that very economical Finan over, which just went for 3. Worcestershire 28 for 1 after 5 overs, sorry, and the run rate pretty much where it needs to be as it stands. 28 for 1, 85 needed for them to get their 5th T20 win of this campaign.
Matt Salisbury will continue from the Bennett end, which is fair enough. 1 for 3 from his first over, and he's got the new man to bowl at. It's Santner, left-hander, looks around him, sweeper on each side of the ground. In goes Salisbury, bowls to him down the leg side. Thought it had a little bit of a noise, thought it flicked the pad, but clearly it didn't. Umpire Milnes extends his arms.
So did I, Richard, if it's any consolation to
What
you.
if it had a bat on pad or something? 29 for 1. Dark, but it's away to the sort of west of the ground, so which is the way the clouds are going, so fingers crossed. Salisbury is in, leaning forward is Santner, turning the in-swinger out towards mid-wicket where a bouncy Rishi Patel fields, and there's no run. But we do have a game, whatever happens, even if the rain were to come down in torrents from this point onwards. Of course, to do it in singles, there'll be a sort of element of torture about it, won't there, really, in a way? The inevitability. Salisbury is in. Santner is looking to whack it away over mid-wicket. Tries, fails, thumps into his thigh pad and bounces back down the pitch. So, good from Salisbury, just the single so far. Well, it was a wide, I suppose. So he did have to bowl that one again, so it does only count as the 2 balls having been bowled. Now, change in the field. Ackerman, seeing that Salisbury's bringing the ball back into the left-hander, has brought Kimber in from the offside sweeping position to cover point, more or less, and he's got a mid-wicket out deep now, as well as a deep backward square. So this one has to be straight or swinging in. Salisbury is in, and of course Santner steps back, makes room and cracks it away through the offside. Kimber leaps to his left, can't get there, and there is a 4 as a consequence. A nice sound of ball on bat. Not so nice if you're the fielding side, of course, but it was crisply hit, and Santner moves on to 5, 33 for 1.
Yeah, lovely sound off the bat. That echoed round Grace Road. And it was creamed for 4. Lovely shot.
No change to the field. Might try and do it again. Salisbury is in. No, that really is very leg side. Santner just waits for it and turns it calmly out towards deep mid-wicket where Mulder is the fielder. That's just the problem with having your 2 men deep on the same side, isn't it? Especially when they're not far from each other. Your bowler kind of feels he has to bowl in a certain place, and it becomes pretty predictable.
Yorkshire, by the way, 1 for 2 in pursuit of Derbyshire's 212 for 4. Milan has had 3 partners. He hasn't faced a ball yet.
Salisbury into the right-handed. D'Oliveira spears it well down the leg side. It wasn't even close. And the wide is signalled again. So second wide in the over. 35 for 1. That's being played at?
That is being played at Derby.
At Derby, okay.
Lancashire posting 195 for 7 against Durham. Northamptonshire 177 for 5 against Notts. They're 19 for 1 in reply.
Salisbury is in. D'Oliveira backs away. He's hit on the pad. Looks up to see Santner charging towards him as the leg bye is taken fine and running in from short third man to field. Throws at the stumps at the non-striker's end. Misses them. Ackerman backs up. A rumble of thunder away to the south and southwest, but it is away to the south and southwest. So far we've been fortunate. 36 for 1. Worcestershire. DLS 28. Salisbury is in. Backing away is Santner. He's followed by Salisbury, but wristily turned out into the leg side. Fielded out there by Mulder. Again, I think it was behind the pillar. And 1 is taken to finish the over. 37 for 1. So good over for Worcestershire. Brings their power play to an end on 37 for 1. Well behind Leicestershire's power play, which was 56 for 1. But wasn't long thereafter where things started to go slightly awry as far as the Foxes were concerned.
Yeah, that was the best of it by some distance. 67 for 1 the Foxes were, before losing 9 wickets in quick order to be bowled out for 112. Middlesex, by the way, chasing down 238. They've lost all 9 of their games. It's going to be one hell of a battle to not lose their 10th. Rahan Ahmed will start and bowls a beauty first up, quick and flat, and at the stumps. His leg spinners, right arm, he's gone round the wicket. Back goes Santner, 7 off 8, and punches it to cover where there's no run. Up comes Ahmed, back again goes Santner. Another good delivery from Ahmed, pretty much the same, maybe a little bit quicker and a little bit straighter.
Staying low, difficult, isn't it, for the batter?
16 on his back, Ahmed, the England international. Past the umpire now, tosses this one up and back goes Santner and plays this very well indeed. That's going to run away for 4. It's a fabulous shot. Lovely arch blade from the New Zealander, who pushed it back and played it very square to find the gap. There's a deep cover out there, but it raced away for 4. And after
gorgeous timing,
it was, wasn't it? He's timed a few of those absolutely beautifully,
yeah,
off the back foot on the offside, so he moves on to 11. 41 for 172 to win. Ahmed tosses this one up and he slips as he goes to collect the ball, does Ahmed, and that means that Santner can get a single down the ground.
Looks horrendous over there to the southwest now.
Yes.
So, well, towards Coventry, I think, somewhere like that, or closer maybe.
Heavy rain has stopped the test match at Edgbaston, and it's,
yeah,
well, that shows
no
sign of abating. England lost 2 wickets in the 20 minutes that they were back out on the field. Backward point comes in as Ahmed bowls, and back goes D'Oliveira, who hasn't quite found his timing yet. Plays this to deep point, and there is no run. And just feel the wind pick up. It's just come into our commentary box. Wonder maybe that might be an ominous sign. Either way, the floodlights are on. It doesn't look too bad at the moment. It's white cloud above. It's quite dark here though. Ahmed, past the umpire, tosses this one up. Oh, it doesn't bounce either. And Santner goes back just about. Toe ends this to cover.
Stands there. How are you supposed to play that, he says.
And that is the end of the over, the end of the 7th over, with Santner on 12, D'Oliveira on 9. You're listening to Leicestershire against Worcestershire in the T20 Blast here at Grace Road. And after being bowled out for 112, Worcestershire require 70 to win of 13 overs. So they're going well above the required run rate.
Yeah, 7 overs was absolutely Leicestershire's high point. At the end of them, they were 66 for 1 with Patel and Hanscom going well. And they doubled that, but lost all their remaining 9 wickets in so doing. Ackerman brings himself back on from the Bennett end, is in, reverse paddle swept by D'Oliveira. That might go down to find third man for 4. It does. Good chasing effort. Oh, no, he did. Salisbury dragged it back. I thought the ball had beaten him over the ropes, but Salisbury put in the dive. He'll have lost a layer of skin in certain parts of his body, and he's now examining his right elbow ruefully, but he did save 3 in the end. Did they run 3? They ran 3, so he saved 1 for the loss of the skin on his elbow. Ackerman is going to go round the wicket to the left-handed Santner. He does have more cover now. Obviously, we're out of the power play. Goes in and bowls. Santner goes back and is missing it. And how isn't he bowled there? Howl of anguish from Colin Ackerman. It bounces out of Hanscom's gloves, possibly because Hanscom thought it was going to hit the stumps, but missed them by the merest fraction. Ackerman is in. Santner's just waiting for that one and pushing it carefully, much more carefully in front of point into the offside. Tom Scriven runs back and picks up. Santner picks up a single, moves on to 13. It's all they need do. Worcester, and it's all they are doing at the moment. 47 for 1, 66 to win at 5.3 and over. Again, the reverse paddle sweep from D'Oliveira, telegraphed several months in advance, almost. He was in position almost before Ackerman sort of was at the crease there. played it well enough, but there is cover out there. Ahmed came into field, so it is still just going to be the 1, 48 for 1. Into Santner goes Ackerman. It's cut very finely. Parkinson does well, diving away to his right at short third man to prevent it running down to the third man boundary for 4. Again, a single. This time to Santner, 49 for 1.
Yorkshire are 7 for 4 in their game at Derbyshire. They need 206 to win. Tattersall's just gone.
Even Fletcher won't be too lugubrious about this one. You wouldn't have thought. In goes Ackerman, bowls, and it, I'm sure, isn't being told as much anyway. Taking the edge off it as that is clipped out into the onside by D'Oliveira, and 1 run is taken. Brings up the Rapids 50. Not very rapid 50, but rapid enough as far as they're concerned. 50 for 1. 14 apiece to Santner and to Brett D'Oliveira, and they have plenty of overs to come. 12 of them, in fact, and they need just 63 more runs.
Off 72 balls, and they should do it comfortably. That DLS marker, the par is at 39. So if the rain were to come, and we are seeing slightly darker clouds come over from our right-hand side.
It's going that way.
Is he
though.
going that way?
Be
So
right.
it might just be avoiding us. Parkinson will bowl a new over, and he's creamed immediately. Stopped at cover. Very athletic fielding from Ackerman, who was almost running in at the pitch and stopped it, diving to his left, and stops the run too. 50 for 1. The score remains. D'Oliveira 14 of 18 as Parkinson comes in, and D'Oliveira goes back and sort of wheels himself round to guide the ball towards deep mid-wicket, where he'll pick up a single. He moves on to 15 from 19. Target now 62 away from 11.4 overs. Parkinson is going to go over the wicket as the left-hander to the left-handed Santner. It's a tall man. He's got a bright blue helmet. And he goes back and carves that, and that'll be 4 runs. It's a glorious shot. He's played so many good shots from that kind of delivery. Back off the back foot, arching the blade and just carving it away along the floor for 4.
Terrible ball though. It's short, wasn't it? Really short.
Any sort of width and time that he's given, if it's too short, it's getting punished. Down the pitch he comes and flashes this down the ground, and it's hit straight to the fielder at long off. And it's Vian Mulder who collects it, who's probably the safest pair of hands in the Leicestershire team. And he caught it, bending down, probably caught it sort of in front of his midriff. And that is the 2nd wicket to fall. I'm not sure why Santner really needed to do that.
Just thinking exactly that. Why do that? You've just got a 4.
So they've got their runs from the over already. He didn't need to come down the track and launch that, but he decided he probably had enough of waiting around, and his head is still bowed, and he raises it to then lift it to the heavens. He's very disappointed with that, and you can see why. He has to depart, and Worcestershire lose their 2nd wicket there, 55 for 2.
Travelling, I mean, he got plenty of it, and it was a decent catch by Vian Mulder, but yeah, completely unnecessary to go aerial, really.
Yeah, it just didn't seem particularly necessary. I can see why I did it. It was sort of the right ball for it, but you could just play it safe. They're not chasing a big total. They're chasing 113.
Yeah, they're halfway there, and you know, to do that in those circumstances, because it does take a, it is tricky for a new batter, and once you've got yourself in, you can just push it around.
Parkinson gets another couple here. Parkinson, Ackerman, they lose 2 in 2 overs, something like that. And we've already seen in this game how teams can collapse, Richard.
Adam Hose,
who is the top scorer for Worcestershire in this competition so far, as Parkinson comes in towards him and is driven, and it beats the infielder Colin Ackerman, and will race out to mid-off, who races round to his left to collect it and saves the 2 as a result.
Kimber, beautiful fielding.
Yeah, very well done indeed. He's a big man, but he's actually quite fleet-footed for a fielder. Gets himself around the field very quickly. Parkinson moves in quickly, bowls this a little bit short of a length, but it bounces, spits up off the surface slightly as D'Oliveira guides it into the mid-wicket region. And do I hear the sound of the Hells Angels off to our left-hand side?
You do. Sunday afternoon. They've been out for their regular constitutional.
They end of the over, 57 for 2. So 11 overs remain, 56 to win. They need to go at 5.1 and over. They're doing that comfortably. Seems to be it's perfect for sort of T20 cricket that the times combine, don't they, rather nicely. So they go out on a Sunday afternoon, do they, for a long ride, and they also seem to go out on a
yeah, they go out in the
evening.
morning, so they're starting coming back now. Yeah,
Oh, is
so
that what they're doing?
I think that's yeah. That would tend to be the sound of the Harleys coming up Milligan Road. Rehan Ahmed on from the Bennett end to Brett D'Oliveira, who waits for the delivery as it comes down towards leg stump and clips it calmly out towards deep backward square. Takes one, moves on to 17, doing the right job, the experienced man for his side. The skipper has got his head on today. 58 for 2. Duckworth Lewis is showing at 47 after 9.1 overs. Wicket would make a big difference as in goes Ahmed, and it's a full toss that is paddle swept, reverse paddle swept by Hose. Big tall man, so didn't have to reach very far. Changed his grip, ball floated up nicely outside his off stump and swept it away behind square for 4. Clever shot, perfectly executed to the right ball.
Yeah, it was well dispatched. And it wasn't telegraphed. Sometimes you see that shot, it's done.
No, he saw it. Yeah, they didn't. He saw the full toss, didn't he? Yeah. So you're right. He adapted to the delivery. In goes Ahmed. Bowled him! Goes through Adam Hose. Might have been the googly. Stayed a bit low. Hose, that tall man, tried to chop it away through the offside again. Not quite sure why, having just hit a 4, but the ball scuttles through and bowls him. Rehan Ahmed picks up Leicestershire's 3rd wicket. Suddenly 62 for 3. Well, stranger things have happened, folks.
Stranger things have happened indeed, and that was a nice bit of bowling from Ahmed. I think he just quickened his pace slightly to flatter, straighter delivery, and it flummoxed him. Yeah, was it a googly?
Chopped it on, I think.
Just chopped it on.
But he got a bottom edge on. Yeah.
Either way, nice mixing of pace from Ahmed just to flummox him slightly, and that's the 3rd wicket to go. And hey, you never know. They're keeping themselves just about in the game, and as the man who won the game for the Rapids down at New Road, Kashif Ali comes to the crease.
Hose has been there, as you said, their sort of leading light in the competition, so hope springs.
Yorkshire 20 for 5. Masood is now gone. Remarkable game, that.
Ahmed is in. Kashif Ali just calmly waits for the delivery outside off stump as it turns away from him and steers it out into the offside, where Parkinson is waiting in front of the popular seats over there, much quieter over there. One of the regular denizens of Stention Benno's stand, Gary, came up and had a word beforehand. In goes Ahmed, bowls and whipped away off the back foot by D'Oliveira out towards long on. Matt Salisbury is the fielder, and one is it's Louis Kimber who's out there, I beg his pardon now, moved round, and one is taken. But just saying how they heard the commentary about the chanting from over there the other night as forward goes as Kashif, just turning the delivery from him out into the leg side. 2 fielders get in each other's way, rather running in Scriven and Finan. Finan eventually picks up, but Kashif and D'Oliveira make 1 into 2. There probably always was 2. 66 for 3 after 10. But just saying that the regulars over there really found it horribly distasteful, as I think many in the ground did, and hence they were sitting elsewhere.
Yeah, it was a funny old atmosphere that night. A few too many sherbets taken.
In parts, yeah, for sure.
So 66 for 3 is the score. Worcestershire require 47 to win this game. The Duckworth-Lewis is at 54.
I mean, Leicestershire was 77 for 4 at this stage, so it's not actually that much in it in those terms. But they kept losing wickets.
Still just put, I mean, I know you're not saying that this isn't the case, but you still put them as heavy favourites.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
As Mike Finan.
Rain over there, coming our way now.
Runs in, past the umpire, bowls. Oh, and it's a beauty, and he's unlucky because he's going to concede 4 runs as D'Oliveira jabs his bat down on it. It's a thick inside edge, and it races away down to the fine leg boundary. And there's 4 more off the total, so 43 to win. And as you can see, it's almost like the cloud fades, doesn't it? Because you can see the rain.
Yeah,
in the
you can see a big
farthest.
curtain of rain away to the sort of southeast of us, and that's going to come pretty close.
The dark cloud fades into the horizon. Oh, there they go. There's the Hells Angels.
They know it's going to rain.
Sir Finan is in. Up to the wicket he bowls, and that's driven for 4. That's a much better shot from D'Oliveira, who is onto that like a flash, and it's a long boundary on the offside of the right-hander from the pavilion end, and it beats the fielder.
Half volley, wasn't it? It was there. Put it in the slot.
It's a lovely shot, but you're right, poor ball from Finan. So 2 4s in a row, 1 fortuitous. Well, I suppose both were fortuitous in their own way, weren't they, for D'Oliveira? The second one was fortuitous that it was in the slot for him. D'Oliveira on to 26, 74 for 3 the score. As Finan is in, he bowls, and this is straight to delivery. That's much better, and D'Oliveira can only defend that. So 39 to win. Halfway
That's
there.
come quickly, hasn't it? Really has come quickly. That all of a sudden just 39.
You may have picked up on our effects, Mike. I think everybody who came down the steps then sneezed. We had about 3 sneezes from 3 different people. There's another one. It's bad for hay fever. I know hay fever sufferers have had a horrible time of it recently. Finan past the umpire now. He bowls, and it's down the leg side, so that will be a wide. And that's 38 to win. That's 10.3 overs. Just over halfway in terms of the overs bowled. Don't know whether Worcestershire will try. I mean, they're out there on the field. They probably can't see what we can see. We're about 3 stories high, so they probably can't see what we can see.
But they know they're miles ahead on DLS now, 20 runs ahead. So D'Oliveira is such an experienced cricketer.
He waits, raises his bat at hip level. As Finan is in, it's clipped off his pads towards Mulder, who's fielding at mid-on. They scamper through for a single, so he's on to 27, D'Oliveira, 37 to win from 56 balls. Finan's figures 1.4 overs, none for 13. His first over only went for 3. As he holds the ball in his right hand, he's just having a little bit of a conversation from Colin Ackerman. Leicestershire all in green. They've got stripy green tops and green trousers. As in comes Finan, bowls. A little bit back of a length this one, and Kashif Ali defends, and there is no run as the ball finds its way to Rishi Patel at mid-wicket. You're listening to Leicestershire against Worcestershire T20 Blast Cricket. Adam Whitty and Richard Ray with you under leaden skies. We've had the threat of thunderstorms and torrential rain looming over us, but we haven't missed a ball so far. We haven't missed a ball at all in Leicestershire's T20 campaign.
No.
Most unusual. As Finan past the umpire now, he bowls. It's clipped into the leg side where it's collected. And that is the end of the over. So not a too bad one, to be fair. Well, 10 off it in the end. It was those 2 4s at the start of the over, wasn't it? He recovered well, Finan, which gave me a false sense of how the 6 balls went. So D'Oliveira 27, Kashif Ali is on to 3. And
if you bend forward and look to your left, look to your left now, it is Armageddon is heading our way, judging by.
Worcestershire need 37 off 55 balls, but the key point at this stage, they're well ahead of the Duckworth Lewis, which is on 59.
Yeah. They'd like to have it won before the rain, properly won, I think, before the rain arrives, but it makes no odds, I suppose. Ahmed is in to D'Oliveira, who is sweeping in the air. It's going to bounce short of Tom Scriven at deep backward square, although he is 10, maybe 15 yards inside the ropes. Bounces just short of him. So just a single to D'Oliveira, moves on to 28 off 27, 77 for 3, 36 to win. What will Kashif do? Just try and push one. Ahmed is in, bowls to him. No, he'll try and smash it out of the ground. Gets a bit of a bottom edge as he tries to sweep off one knee. Slog sweep off one knee, and it runs along the ground this time to Scriven. 78 to win. Sorry, 78 for 3, 35 to win. Ahmed is in. D'Oliveira just waits for that slower delivery, dabs it out towards wide, long on. Thinks about a second, but Kimber quickly to the ball on that good flat sidearm throw. Keeps the Worcester batters to a single. 79 for 3, 34 to win. Leicestershire and Ackerman creeping ever closer, and that's a full toss. Waits for it though, Kashif Ali, and didn't try and overhit it, just made sure he got plenty of it and pumped it out towards long on. Kimber fields again, ball following him a little bit, which Leicestershire won't mind because he's probably the best fielder. Down the wicket goes D'Oliveira. Ahmed sees him coming, drags it back and almost beats him, thought he'd got it through. D'Oliveira managed to get a bat on it, chop it down into the offside. Rishi Patel fielded at backward point. And there was no run. Ahmed is in, long hop that is pulled out to deep mid-wicket for 4. Well, he bowled a pretty good over up to that point, Rehan Ahmed, but his last ball was a bit of a shocker, I'm afraid. As a consequence, it was clubbed away by D'Oliveira to the boundary for 4. 84 for 3 after 12, with D'Oliveira moving on to 33. Kashif has 5, 29 needed off 8 overs at 3.6. That's pretty much an irrelevance. Let's just have to take wickets in the gloaming that is hanging over Grace Road at the moment. The floodlights are needed, folks.
29 off 48 required for Worcestershire to win their 5th T20 game and consign Leicestershire to their 8th defeat in 10 games. Parkinson up to the wicket, bowls from the pavilion end, and it's driven straight back to him, and he gets a hand on the ball, doesn't stop it. His teammate Colin Ackerman does that, strolls over and gives the ball back to him. Parkinson straight back to his mark and running in once again. He bowls, tosses this one up, flashed at by Kashif Ali. Tried to club that into
ugly,
Ayleston.
wasn't it?
It was ugly. He's played a few ugly shots, to be honest, in this innings. Got a match-winning 50 against Leicestershire at New Road this season as he goes back. And again, it's an overly convincing stroke. Back foot heave into the leg side. He'll get 2 for it, though, and will knock 2 more off the chase. So 27 to win now off 46 deliveries. Parkinson, you can just see the wind is picking up. I can see his shirt fluttering in the breeze, although the Leicestershire flag to my left is still hanging limply. He's up to the wicket, he bowls. That's a quicker, flatter delivery from Parkinson on leg stump, and it's clipped by Kashif Ali. That one was more textbook, more orthodox, and more aesthetically pleasing as he picks up a single. 26 to win, Kashif Ali on to 8. Parkinson past the umpire now, tosses this one up, it's driven straight back to him by D'Oliveira, who's played very sensibly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not done anything he hasn't needed to do. As Parkinson comes up again, away from us, and is cut. That's going to race away for at least 2. I think, yes, the fielders will come back. It's played out to deep point. And Hanscom tries very cleverly to throw the ball at the stumps at the back of his hand. And that is the end of Parkinson's over and his 4 over spell. 1 for 25 from his 4 overs. Not too shabby from Parkinson. He's a consistent performer from them. And Worcestershire are 89 for 3. They need 24 to win off 24 balls. No, that's not right. 42 balls. Sorry, I got right numbers in the wrong order. 42. I had the numbers 2 and 4 in my head and got them
all the right notes in the wrong place. Eric Markham once famously said Ackerman is in to Kashif, who is just waiting for that one, turning his wrists on a defensive push. Trickles out towards mid-on at a sufficiently slow speed for Rehan Ahmed to get across and prevent a single. Ackerman is in. Completely repeated. Gentle push into the onside. Ahmed moves across to his left and tumbles as he does so, but prevents one. Ackerman is in. The ball is just pushed back to him by Kashif on this occasion. Hanscom claps his gloves together behind the stumps. 3 docked balls in a row. Ackerman steps in and bowls. Kashif gets a single off that one that is just drifting towards middle and leg, and it's pushed around the corner out towards deep square. Scriven comes into field. Kashif takes one, moves on to 9. 90 for 3, 23 to win. Somehow it is still dry here at the Upton Steel County Ground. More and more denizens of the stand alongside us leave as D'Oliveira steps back, and then foolish delivery from Ackerman, waits for it, clips it out to Kimber at long on, takes his single, moves on to 36, 91 for 3, 22 now to win.
Not sure why, Lee. You haven't seen that much cricket, have you?
Ackerman is in. Kashif is playing more firmly this time off the front foot, pumping it away through mid-on out towards Kimber at long on. Just the 3 singles from the over, which is certainly respectable, but it's all that Worcestershire need to do. 4 singles actually from the over in the end. So no, 3. I was correct. So just 3 runs from it, but yeah, no jeopardy, is there?
No.
For Worcestershire at all.
Let's just say 21 to win off 36 deliveries. Rehan Ahmed has switched ends. He's moved from the Bennett end to the Pavilion end. Spins the ball in his hands. 1 for 23 from his 3 overs so far. Not too shabby. He's up to the wicket now. He bowls and it's edged and caught. And a 4th wicket falls, and Kashif Ali is absolutely devastated with that dismissal. I'm not sure it bounced as much as he was expecting. He tried to carve it away through the offside and he was caught at short third man. And there's the 4th wicket gone. Kashif Ali goes, and Worcestershire are 92 for 4.
Probably a case of too little too late. You never, as I say, I keep saying it, you never quite know, but until they're over the line, everybody bats these days, don't they? Good catch by Callum Lowdown, falling down onto his knees, made sure he's got his hands underneath the ball. If it's in his range, he usually hangs on. Ben Cox comes out.
21 to win. 4 wickets have gone. 35 balls to get them in. As Richard has said already, stranger things have happened for Leicestershire to win this game, but the Duckworth-Lewis at 75, the par.
Yeah, even with the wicket, it's only brought it down by 5 runs or so.
So Ahmed, and then with his 2nd wicket, 2 for 23 for him. Louis Kimber comes in. They're bringing the fielders up as Ben Cox comes to the crease. I don't think he's seen a huge amount of cricket. 169 runs as he moves across his stumps and clips Rehan Ahmed away to get off the mark. It's D'Oliveira who has seen them through this. He's 36 not out. Will face strike for the next ball. Fielder's out at the moment, deep mid-wicket, deep square leg. So nobody, and there's a deep point as Ahmed bowls a straight delivery, which D'Oliveira just guides into the leg side. Single is taken. 94 for 4, 19 now needed to win.
Umbrellas going up on the far side.
You're right, they are.
Rain in the trees, I can see now.
Yes, I think I can now see rain coming onto the field. They're having a discussion, the umpires. Nobody's moving from that perspective. I think I can see the rain beginning to fall. Ahmed bowls. Oh, and he nearly plays on. Cox, very lucky, plays it into his pad. He moved back to cut it away. It's a nice ice cream man is in the nearby vicinity.
It's warm enough, isn't it?
It is. It's just going to get soggy by the time you've eaten it.
Indeed.
Ahmed tosses this one up. Oh, there's a leading edge there. He's tried to clip it away, Cox, but there's no man fielding at what would have been a silly mid-wicket. And so there is no run and no wicket. 94 for 4, just 2 runs so far off the over as Ahmed comes in, bowls a straight delivery which is defended, and that's the end of the over. Well, Ahmed will be pretty happy with his figures. 4 overs, 2 for 25 at the end of his spell. Cox on 1, D'Oliveira on 37, Worcestershire chasing down 113 on 94 for 4. They need 19 to win of 30 deliveries which remain.
Yeah, the umpires, I think, basically will try and get this done before rain makes everybody wait for a couple of hours, essentially. Because we're only a few blows away, potentially. Ackerman is in to D'Oliveira, who whips it straight out towards long on. Louis Kimber out there comes in and fields, throws back to Ackerman. 1 is taken. D'Oliveira onto 38. 95 for 4, 18 to win. Ben Cox takes his guard from umpire Milnes. Rehan Ahmed comes across from the offside to mid-wicket as Ackerman is in. Attempted slog sweep by Cox. Hanscom, he misses it. Hanscom takes off the bails, but his back foot was firmly in his crease, his toes. 95 for 4 remains the score. We're going to get wet going back to our cars, potentially. Ackerman steps in and bowls quite delicately. Picked up the slog sweep, bounces just once before Scriven takes it on the run down there at deep backward square, running towards wide long leg. Cox picks up a single. 96 for 4, 17 to win. It's raining away on both sides of the ground at the moment. D'Oliveira advances down the pitch, uses his feet, drives, got to the pitch of it, and throw comes in from chasing in Nick Welsh, who's hardly touched the ball. Fielding in this innings, I don't think we've mentioned him once. The throw misses. Ackerman gives him a slightly reproachful look because he stung his hands as he attempted to clean it up. 2 taken by D'Oliveira, moves on to 40. Ackerman is in 2, his opposite number again, who goes back, but then as Ackerman follows him, just whips it behind square on the leg side. Scriven comes into field. 1 is taken. Ackerman's last ball coming up. He's conceded 23 from 3.5 overs, so again, Worcester have just basically done their job, milked the off spin. 99 for 4, Ackerman in. Cox sweeps and sweeps hard and sweeps for 4. He's got it in the gap there. Beautiful shot actually from Ben Cox. Went down on one knee, fetched it from outside off stump, but he fetched it very, very effectively indeed. That is a good way to finish the over. As far as Worcestershire is concerned, 9 from it. Just 10 now to win from the remaining 4 overs with 6 wickets in hand.
Yeah, you look at the bowling figures and everybody's done okay. It's not bad for the economy rates, this. I mean, what? Finan has gone for 6.5 and over. He's been the most expensive bowler so far, but it hasn't really told the story because Worcestershire have just done what they needed to do. They needed to go in under a run of ball. They've pretty much gone for a run of ball.
You just wonder what another 30 or 40 runs might have, we've said that a few times, haven't we, in this competition, but I mean, Worcester would have approached it fairly differently perhaps, but yeah, frustration again.
D'Oliveira 41. They need 10 to win, do Worcestershire. There's a big dark cloud above our heads as Finan is in. And down comes D'Oliveira, smacks it for 6. That's huge. And that, I think, has gone onto the roof of the building just to our right-hand side.
Is it in the cricketers, or is it on the...
no, I think it's there's just
the members.
Just into the members there. I think it was above the members, in fact. And that was a monster hit from D'Oliveira, who hasn't really hit a shot in anger in his innings, but I think he can probably tell that the rain is close and that they want to get these runs quickly. So it's gone from 10-4 to win.
Get a replacement and get it quickly, because it is now raining.
I could try and do this in the over. I was sort of going to cheekily suggest, it's raining quite heavily now, I was going to cheekily suggest that Leicestershire, that Worcestershire might be able to win it in this over, and that
I think they will. That's what they're going to try and do.
That was he just came charging down the track. It was a length ball from Finan, and he absolutely destroyed that. So 109 for 4 to win. That's 3.5 overs to go. In comes Finan. Will it be off this delivery? In he comes. He flashes this, and it's going to race away. It's a big uppercut, and there it is. It's 4 runs, and it races away through cover, and that is the end of the game. And Leicestershire have been hammered by Worcestershire as the stands empty in quick time as the rain pours. It has been a grim afternoon for the Foxes. Wiped out and bowled out for 112, having been 66 for 1, and falling to that ignominious total. They now have been seen off comfortably by Worcestershire, with D'Oliveira bowling wide.
He did, unfortunately, yeah.
And it's part of a very strange spell, but to be honest, it was famine or feast really from a Leicestershire perspective. A lot of their bowlers got hit all over the place. He'll bowl left arm, very slingy action. He's up to the wicket, he bowls slower delivery first up, well disguised, and it's played straight back to him, and there is no run. 25 for 1 is the score.
Yeah, you have to take the pace off, don't you, but try and disguise it as best you can.
D'Oliveira 7 not out, 50 and 47 in his last 2 innings, so he's in form.
Floodlights.
Oh yes, the floodlights just flickering on as Finan comes in, bowls, and it's turned around the corner, but picks out the fielder at fine leg. It's quite square, and there will just be the single. And D'Oliveira will be frustrated at that as he timed that nicely. And Santner, the new man, will face his first delivery, the New Zealander. 149 runs in 5 innings. He's got a start in every single innings. 26, 27, 57 and 33 so far. Did his job with the ball, and he marks his guard. He's a left-hander. Scrapes his studs to mark his guard and stands with his bat raised high as Finan comes in, bowls a straight delivery. It's pushed out into the offside by the Kiwi, and it's fielded by Rohan Ahmed, a backward point, his specialist position. There's a nice atmosphere out there. You can just hear the murmurings of the crowd in the background on our effects microphone. Quite a lot of activity out there. There's quite a lot of young people, young kids and things out with their parents today on Father's Day. As Finan comes in, grey skies above, he's up to the wicket, he bowls, oh, and an edge, and that's going to race away for at least a single as chases on, and it's fielded brilliantly actually. Good quick hands by the man down there, who launched it in right-handed. Perfect throw as well on the bounce to Peter Hanscom.
Should be Salisbury down there, I think it is.
He raced round, picked that up really handily. So 27 for 1, 86 to win of 15.2 overs. That's D'Oliveira, 8 not out, waits. We've got a right-hand, left-handed combination now as the right-handed D'Oliveira tries to flick a ball down the leg side away, but that's given us a wide. The umpire's arms raised out horizontally to signal such. Floodlights coming on very slowly, they come on bit by bit. So you've got about 50% of the bulbs working at the moment. In each of the, what are there, 6
pylons, yeah.
As Finan comes in, bowls Yorker, which is well bowled and well played by D'Oliveira, 8 off 11. Just plays that straight back to him. Final ball of Finan's over. Just 3 off it so far. When you consider one of them was a wide, that's not too shabby.
Oliveira took a long look at the scoreboard there. He just knows they have to. They're okay at the moment, ahead of DLS, and we're coming up to the end of the 5th.
He stands, a diminutive figure is D'Oliveira. He moves across his stumps and drives at a full delivery. They wanted to scamper through for a single, but he hit it straight at backward point. That is the end of the over, and Fine and conceding just 3 off it. If they go like that for the rest of the innings, they might have a chance, but they are defending 113, Leicestershire, and they are not doing well enough as it stands, despite that very economical fine and over, which just went for 3. Worcestershire 28 for 1 after 5 overs, sorry, and the run rate pretty much where it needs to be as it stands. 28 for 1, 85 needed for them to get their 5th T20 win of this campaign.
Matt Salisbury will continue from the Bennett end, which is fair enough. 1 for 3 from his first over, and he's got the new man to bowl at. It's Santner, left-hander, looks around him, sweeper on each side of the ground. In goes Salisbury, bowls to him down the leg side. Thought it had a little bit of a noise, thought it flicked the pad, but clearly it didn't. Umpire Milnes extends his arms.
So did I, Richard, if it's any consolation to
I wonder
you.
if he had a bat on pad or something. 29 for 1. Dark, but it's away to the sort of west of the ground, so which is the way the clouds are going, so fingers crossed. Salisbury is in, leaning forward is Santner, turning the in-swinger out towards mid-wicket where a bouncy Rishi Patel fields, and there's no run. But we do have a game, whatever happens, even if the rain were to come down in torrents from this point onwards. Of course, to do it in singles, there'll be a sort of element of torture about it, won't there, really, in a way? The inevitability. Salisbury is in. Santner is looking to whack it away over mid-wicket. Tries, fails, thumps into his thigh pad and bounces back down the pitch. So, good from Salisbury, just the single so far. Well, it was a wide, I suppose. So he did have to bowl that one again, so it does only count as the 2 balls having been bowled. Now, change in the field. Ackerman, seeing that Salisbury's bringing the ball back into the left-hander, has brought Kimber in from the offside sweeping position to cover point, more or less, and he's got a mid-wicket out deep now, as well as a deep backward square. So this one has to be straight or swinging in. Salisbury is in, and of course Santner steps back, makes room and cracks it away through the offside. Kimber leaps to his left, can't get there, and there is a 4 as a consequence. A nice sound of ball on bat. Not so nice if you're the fielding side, of course, but it was crisply hit, and Santner moves on to 5, 33 for 1.
Yeah, lovely sound off the bat. That echoed round Grace Road. And it was creamed for 4. Lovely shot.
No change to the field. Might try and do it again. Salisbury is in. No, that really is very leg side. Santner just waits for it and turns it calmly out towards deep mid-wicket where Mulder is the fielder. That's just the problem with having your 2 men deep on the same side, isn't it? Especially when they're not far from each other. Your bowler kind of feels he has to bowl in a certain place, and it becomes pretty predictable.
Yorkshire, by the way, 1 for 2 in pursuit of Derbyshire's 212 for 4. Milan has had 3 partners. He hasn't faced a ball yet.
Salisbury in.